Before we begin, this story contains descriptions of a natural disaster, including deaths and injuries. Children were among the victims. If that's something you need to step away from, we understand. Take care of yourself first. This episode's narration is AI-generated. The research, writing, and editorial decisions behind every story are made with care for accuracy and respect for those involved. On March 18, 1925, a single tornado stayed on the ground for 3.5 hours. It traveled 219 miles across 3 states. It killed 695 people. To this day, it remains the deadliest tornado in American history. And when it struck, the United States Weather Bureau was forbidden by law from using the word tornado in forecasts. You're listening to the Unlit Room. Every story in here actually happened. That's the part that should scare you. New stories every day, Monday through Saturday. Today, the storm that moved faster than anyone could run and the policy that made sure no one knew it was coming. March 18, 1925. Mid-afternoon, Reynolds County, Missouri. Coal country, farm country, a landscape of rolling hills and scattered towns connected by dirt roads and a single rail line. Near the town of Ellington, witnesses watched a dark cloud forming low on the southwestern horizon. It wasn't the shape most people associate with a tornado. No funnel, no point touching down. Just a wide, boiling wall of black moving northeast. Fast. At 1:01 p.m., the storm hit Lis, Missouri. Population 300. The town had one main street, a general store, a schoolhouse. In less than 2 minutes, 90% of the town was gone. 2 people were killed. The survivors described a sound like a freight train, but closer and lower, and so loud you couldn't hear yourself scream. Most tornadoes touch down, carve a path for a few miles, then lift back into the cloud. The National Weather Service estimates the average tornado stays on the ground for less than 5 miles. This one didn't lift. It kept moving. Northeast, 62 miles per hour. That's faster than a horse can gallop. Faster than most people can run, even in a flat-out sprint. And because the Weather Bureau couldn't use the word tornado in any public forecast, the towns in its path had no warning at all. At 2:26 p.m., the storm crossed the Mississippi River into Illinois. The rule against tornado warnings had been in place since the 1880s. The official reason, preventing public panic. The real reason, meteorologists couldn't reliably predict where or when tornadoes would strike, and the Bureau feared lawsuits if they got it wrong. So the policy was silence. Better to say nothing than to be wrong. Micro Cliffhanger 1. By 2:30 p.m., the storm was approaching Gorham, Illinois, a mining town, 1,100 people, and no one there had any idea what was about to happen. Gorham was destroyed in minutes. 34 people died. The tornado didn't slow down. It didn't curve. It moved in a straight line, northeast, at the same relentless speed. At 2:34 p.m., it hit Murfreesboro. Murfreesboro was a city of 11,000 people. Brick buildings, paved streets, a hospital, schools. It was the kind of place that felt permanent, solid. Miners coming off the afternoon shift saw the wall approaching from the southwest. The sky had turned greenish-black. Some of them thought it was a severe thunderstorm. A few started running. There wasn't time. The tornado was a mile wide. It didn't touch down in one spot. It was on the ground the entire time, a moving wall of wind and debris, traveling at 62 miles per hour. Brick buildings lifted off their foundations. Railroad cars were thrown like toys. A passenger train was derailed. Fires broke out from broken gas lines and overturned coal stoves. 234 people died in Murfreesboro. 8 entire families were wiped out. Every member gone. The town of 11,000 was reduced to rubble in less than 4 minutes. And the storm kept moving. Weather observers had seen the storm forming. Some of them suspected what it was. But the word they weren't allowed to say was the word that might have saved lives. So they reported severe thunderstorm activity and hoped people would understand. They didn't. Micro Cliffhanger 2. At 3 p.m., the tornado was 6 miles from the town of DeSoto, Illinois. In DeSoto, it was a warm spring afternoon. School was still in session. The De Soto schoolhouse was a one-room brick building. 125 students inside, ages 6 to 14. 2 teachers. The windows faced southwest, toward the storm. At 3:01 p.m., the roof lifted off. Not torn apart, lifted off intact, like someone had opened a lid. Then it came back down. The brick walls collapsed inward. Desks, beams, bricks, and children buried together under the rubble. Parents ran from their homes and started digging with their bare hands. They pulled out 33 children and 2 teachers. All of them dead. One of the chalkboards was found a quarter-mile away, still intact. The tornado moved on. By 3:30 p.m., it reached West Frankfurt, a coal mining town of 18,000. The mine superintendent, a man named J.M. Hewitt, saw the black wall approaching and made a decision. He opened mine shaft number 17 and started yelling for people to get underground. Hundreds of people descended into the mine. Families, miners, shopkeepers, anyone who could reach the shaft in time went down. 600 feet below the surface, they huddled in the darkness and listened to the roaring above them. The tornado destroyed 270 city blocks. 148 people died, but the 500 people in the mine shaft survived. Every one of them. At 4 p.m., the tornado crossed into Indiana. It kept going. Town after town, Griffin, Indiana, population 25 families, was erased, not damaged, erased. At 4:05 p.m. near Petersburg, Indiana, the tornado finally lifted, 3.5 hours after it began. 219 miles. The final count took days. 695 confirmed dead, over 2,000 injured, 15,000 homes destroyed. 3 states, dozens of towns, some of them, like Griffin, never rebuilt. Here's the part that should keep you up. The Weather Bureau knew tornadoes were forming that day. Observers in Missouri had seen the conditions. But the Bureau's policy, the one that had been in place since the 1880s, explicitly prohibited the use of the word tornado in any public warning. The official reason was preventing panic. The actual reason was simpler. Meteorologists couldn't predict tornadoes accurately, and the Bureau was afraid of lawsuits. So on March 18, 1925, even as weather observers watched the storm grow and move, they sent out warnings about severe local storms and heavy thunderstorm activity. They didn't say tornado. They weren't allowed to. The tri-state tornado finally changed the policy. But not immediately. Not that year. The Weather Bureau didn't authorize the use of the word tornado in public forecasts until 1938. 13 years later. Hundreds more deaths later, the lesson was learned. Eventually. Moving at 62 miles per hour, the tornado gave some towns less than 2 minutes of warning. Even with perfect forecasts, even with modern warning systems, no policy could have saved everyone. The physics of the storm, the speed, the width, the duration, made it almost unsurvivable for the towns directly in its path. But hundreds might have lived. Miners might have opened more shafts. Families might have sought shelter. Schools might have dismissed early. The Weather Bureau feared panic more than they feared 695 deaths. And the prohibition on saying the word tornado lasted 13 more years. That's the cost of institutional fear. If this one kept you up tonight, good. New stories every day, Monday through Saturday. Subscribe so the next one finds you too. Follow the Unlit Room wherever you listen. Tell a friend who can't sleep. Full story on the main channel. Follow if you're wide awake. That was the Unlit Room. See you in the dark.